Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. NXT, no mercy here. Overall, terrific show there on Sunday night. Obviously, some matches better than others. First match we had was for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We had champions Chase U, Andre Trace, Ridge Holland, with Hudson, Riley Osborne, and Thea at ringside, taking on former champions Axiom and Nathan Frazer. For the most part, this was a solid, good match. Now, Ridge Holland coming off the top rope with a headbutt. Got to look a little Chris Benoit-ish. Won't lie, I didn't have an issue with it, but there are going to be people out there with, oh my god, paying homage to Chris Benoit. We know what he did. Axiom flying in to break up a pin. Axiom just diving on the outside. Now, what was weird is Axiom was on the rope in the corner. Frazer hit the rope and Axiom fell. So it's like, did he do it on purpose? Was it an accident? Or I think eventually they turn on one another. We get a Nathan Frazer versus Axiom match. And then you had Andre Chase getting hit with hitting a hell of a Spanish fly. Because when Axiom was on the top rope, he was going for a Spanish fly. They were able to recoup, but Andre Chase hit the Spanish fly, which was kind of weird. It looked good, but it's kind of weird. Ridge up. And so, but coming out of that, they were able to get their bearings on Axiom and Nathan Frazer. They was able to get the pinfall victory there. So once again, new NXT Tag Team Champions, Axiom and Nathan Frazer. I know they have a big match coming up against the Rascals. But we did have a interesting fate happen. Ridge Holland ended up attacking Frazer and Axiom after the match. And then he attacked all of Chase U. So it looks like Ridge Holland instantly suspended from Chase U, probably. Kicked out of Chase U, expelled. Obviously, when you attack everyone at Chase U and attack everyone at ringside, yeah, you're probably not part of Chase U no more. So that's going to be interesting to see. I haven't watched NXT this week, so I'm not sure how they address that. But Axiom and Nathan Frazer, your new tag team champions for NXT. Next up, we had a TNA NXT reunion that turned into a feud. We had Zachary Wentz, part of the Rascals, versus Wes Lee. If you remember, Wes Lee was out on NXT. Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz showed up, obviously formerly known as the Rascals in TNA, formerly known as MSK in NXT, until Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel both got fired. They came out and talked to Wes Lee, and I guess he was going to try to retire. I don't know what the end goal was there, and so Wes ended up turning on Trey and on Zachary. So we had this match. Zachary Wentz coming off Friday night TNA Emergence, winning the TNA X Division Championship. Wentz went for a big dive on the outside on Lee. Lee kind of ran up, did this knee first into literally. Wentz is leaning against the steps, and Wesley kneed him into the steps. Went to knee him in the steps, and Wentz moved, and Wesley just almost took the steps out. He kicked Wentz onto the announce table. I love when they do these table spots, and when they actually break. When they don't break, it's like, ooh, it didn't break. Literally, he just falls on the announce table, and it just slowly crumbled. I'm like, oops. I'm guessing it was supposed to break earlier and didn't, and now it just crumbled. But yeah, it looked bad. If it was supposed to happen, it looked horrible on TV. Wes Lee did the top rope double stomp on Wentz. Miguel comes out. Wentz grabbed the chair, or Lee grabbed the chair, went to hit Wentz with it, went back like this, and Trey Miguel shows up and grabs the chair from him. And then you have Wentz hit the Denver Destroyer. I guess it was a Canadian Destroyer, but they called it the Denver Destroyer for some reason. Wentz hit the UFO Cutter. 1, 2, 3. Zachary Wentz beating Wes Lee 3 3/4 star match there. Hell of a match for these two guys. Now Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel get a shot at the NXT tag titles. So that's going to be quite interesting. The TNA champion wrestling for the NXT tag titles. So we'll see when that match is supposed to happen. But yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Next up, we had the NXT Women's North American title line champion Kelani Jordan taking on Wendy Choo. Did not like this match from the start. I don't think Wendy Choo deserved to be a 2-4 championship match. I just don't like what she's done with her character. They mocked this character off a lazy wrestler, which aka Orange Cassidy. WWE's done that a lot over the years, and it's just bad. I mean, Kelani Jordan hit split. She hit a freaking good God, what the hell am I trying to say here? She had a big move off the top rope and then followed up with a second big move off the top rope. She had a 450, a legit looking 450 too. It actually looked pretty cool. She follows the 450 up with a split leg moonsault. It was like, you do a 450, then you do a split leg moonsault. Why? Why not even? Didn't even go for the pin after the 450. Just hit a 450, jump back up, and hit a split leg moonsault. I'm like, I would have thought it was cooler if you'd went off the 450 at that point. But yeah, I mean, and then Tatum Paxley comes out and attacks Choo at the end. What the fuck is that? I know part of the NXT TNA stuff, but it's like, what the hell? I give it 2.5 stars. I mean, it was just like, whatever. It was 13 minutes long, but it was kind of dragged ass. Next up, we had the NXT North American title on the line. Champion Oba Femi taking on the Family, Tony D'Angelo. Not much better in my opinion. The power of Femi definitely took out over D'Angelo. Some of the distraction of the Family helped a little bit, but other than that, they tried to take out Oba Femi and didn't work very well. Big, powerful guy that he is. I ended up getting a match 2 3/4 star with Oba Femi retaining his North American title. Now, I did see on X where the owner of Rev Pro talked about working with WWE. One of the things in the contract he said was you have X year contract to work with them. They put your programming on the network and everything, but at the end of that contract, they have the right to buy the company, and it's their decision if they want to buy the company, not yours. So like he even said, why would I want to get involved in that? I don't want to sell a company. So I don't know if this whole thing with TNA is going to lead to that eventually. I'm assuming it will. I'm assuming within the next year or two, TNA will go WCW, Evolve, just ended up as a spot on Peacock. They'll absorb what they want, like the Jordan Graces, the Joe Hendrys of the world, and then TNA will be no more. You would hope they would keep the X title, but who knows? I mean, so I just hate to see if that is the case here, if TNA does go away. I do love the TNA roster, but we'll see what happens there. And I bring that up because we know Jordan Grace is supposed to be on NXT. We know Jordan Grace has wrestled for WWE. We know Joe Hendry, who has a title match here, has been wrestling for WWE some. So those are two of the top people they would be more than likely taking. My guess was after this North American title match, I was fully expecting Moose to come out and challenge Oba Femi, but we haven't seen that yet. So, next up is the NXT Women's title on the line. Champion Roxanne Perez taking on Jaida Parker. Jaida Parker's actually better than I thought she was. This was actually probably one of her best matches, in my opinion, that I've seen. Perez throws Parker, ribs first into the steel steps. Parker hit a power fadeaway slam. Perez hits Pop Rocks on the barricade. So they're fighting on the outside. They end up bringing it into the ring. A nice little 15-minute match here. Roxanne Perez was able to hit Pop Rocks again, get the 1, 2, 3. We get Roxanne Perez winning. I give it 3.5 stars. And then we had Julia come out. I'm sorry, but the reaction to Julia coming out wasn't even close to the reaction that somebody of that talent should get, because people don't know who she is. she's wrestled more for New Japan Strong than she has anywhere else. So it was like, people were like, oh, this is that one girl, the one from Japan, I think. So I don't think people knew who she was, because there wasn't really a reaction right away. It wasn't when the music hits. It wasn't just that poof pop like a Joe Hendry would get or a Jordan Grace would get. It was kind of delayed. It was almost like everybody's like, oh look, it's that one girl. What's her name? Oh yeah, Julia. So we'll see what happens here. Julia, Roxanne, Perez. I think Jade Cargill should have started in NXT myself personally. I think people would know who she was. I think she would have got that instant pop that Julia at first did. Again, my opinion, didn't seem to get. Our main event was Joe Hendry. You say his name, he will appear. Joe Hendry taking on the NXT champion Ethan Page. Trick Williams as your special referee. Joe Hendry told Trick, if I win, I will give you the first title shot. Trick was calling this down the middle, straight fair. Did a 1-2 count. Page's legs were under the ropes. He stopped the count like he should have. Then we had Page hit push Hendry into Trick, knock Trick on the outside. A second referee comes out, ends up going for a count. Trick comes in and stops the count. Page ended up hitting the second referee, which he should get fined for that, hopefully. And then Page ended up blowing Hendry behind Trick's back, and then Trick reluctantly counted 1, 2, 3. As it goes for NXT title matches, and if you think of the TakeOver days, you hold those at high expectations. 3.25 star. This might be one of the, in a premium live event, might be one of the worst main events. Just going to throw that out there. As we get into the next year, we'll kind of maybe rank some of that stuff with the NXT premium live events and takeovers, and kind of combine some of that stuff, and because they're literally the same thing, but might be one of the worst main events, to be honest with you. Ethan Page getting the victory, retaining his title. What next for Joe Hendry? Obviously, fans like him. He is a draw. We know what he is for TNA. We know what he is for NXT here. Overall, okay show. Not solid. This, to me, is one of those shows where if you're playing golf and you hit it straight down the fairway, and you get just on the cusp of the putting area, you got to chip shot it, kind of out there in the rough a little bit. So not horrible, not great. You're not out in the woods, but you're not, hole in one. Just kind of that, it was there kind of show. We'll see what the next Premium Live event takes for NXT, but maybe NXT is getting overexposed with the new TV deal with CW. I've been on USA for a few years now. Every month it almost seems like having a Premium Live event. Some of this talent might be getting overexposed, in my opinion. But NXT No Mercy. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. Don't just have a great night, have a spiffy night. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports chat content.